This week on the Live Mindfully podcast, I am talking about my 3 keys to wellness, and they may, as usual, be a little different to what you have heard in the past. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. This is Live Mindfully and I am Laurie Moore. Today we're talking wellness, and the truth is wellness, which is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as the state of being in good health, is really quite easy. We all know mostly what we need to do to be in good health. Good health is defined by Medical News Today as a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, not just the absence of disease or infirmity. And as far as I am concerned, there are really only 3 lenses we need to look at wellness through, because wellness really is different for each of us. Some of us have eaten foods, healthy foods, that don't make us feel good. I can't eat eggplant. I feel ill every time I consume it. Some of us have tried a particular sport and ended up with a pretty severe injury. Some of us love to be surrounded by people. We get all our energy from having big belly laughs and lots of conversations. While some of us, this level of socializing is exhausting, and we find solitude far more soul nourishing. And this isn't because of the things we have or haven't done. This isn't because of our fears or mental health concerns. This isn't because we're unfit or unsocial. It's only because we're different. We're all different. Our personal preferences and the makeup of our physiological bodies is different. This is why what works tremendously well in the medical world for one person does not necessarily mean it will work tremendously well for the next. A friend of mine who is a doctor once told me her favourite thing about working in the medical industry is that much of what she does is simply the art of decoding the messages of each person's body. It isn't an exact science. So when I look at wellness as a general rule for a broad audience, the 3 things that I look at may be different from what you have heard or read before. To me, the first key to wellness is KISS. Keep it simple, sweetheart. I will never call anyone stupid, but keep it simple. Wellness is not hard. In fact, the hardest part of wellness is working out what works for you. And the reason this part is hard is because we receive around 4,000 to 10,000 marketing or advertising messages a day. And all of these are telling you to do something, to buy something, to join a free cough, cough, not so much webinar about something. And these marketing messages aren't just coming to you from Facebook, they are coming to you from work colleagues and friends and your parents and your siblings. Because all those people are also being marketed to, but probably in different ways to you. I'm currently working with a Facebook ads digital marketer, and she's creating 4 different ads to target different groups to help me grow my podcast audience. Marketers know one ad does not fit all. So they are working very hard to capture our attention, and they know a lot about us. I was recently away for a friend's birthday, and we were all sitting around and talking about this really cool clothing brand that I had never heard of. And next thing I know, the advertising for this brand is showing up in my Instagram feed. And not just mine, but the other women too. Marketers are clever. Technology is clever. And it's not that we don't need or want this, because in a lot of cases, these products and services serve a purpose in our lives, and they can make our lives easier. But all these messages take up precious time in your mind. And what we forget is that these messages are influencing our behavior, whether we are aware of it or not. And usually they are targeting a gap in our lives. We want to be thinner. We want to look younger. We want more time. And here's the funny thing. If you want to be thinner, eat better and move more. If you want to look younger, drink water and get more sleep. If you want more time, stop doing things you don't want to do. It's simple. The truth is, you know better than anyone what is good for you and what is bad for you. You already know you have formed bad habits that are holding you back. You don't need to join another health webinar or listen to another somebody to tell you this. You know that eating takeaway 5 nights a week is not good. You know binge drinking is bad. You know smoking is killing you. You know you should be doing X, Y, and Z. My guess is you are so overwhelmed by all the BS out there that it's all too hard. And eating a cheeseburger is all the strength you can muster today. And I get it. And the only thing that brings me back into alignment when I feel overwhelmed is simplifying things. So keep it simple, sweetheart. Work out what works for you and stick to that. And just like I mentioned in last week's podcast, the knock-on effect, start small. If you're not consuming enough water, start by drinking 1 extra glass a day for a week. If you aren't getting enough sleep, go to bed 15 minutes or even 5 minutes earlier tonight. We all have favorite healthy meals that we love to cook. So make an effort to cook that meal at least once every week. Cut back on your drinking or your smoking. Offer to be the designated driver once in a while. Recognize when your stress levels are increasing and catch yourself in these moments. And instead of doing the bad habit, count back from 30 and take 5 to 8 deep breaths. This stuff, it's simple. My second key to wellness is balance, but perhaps not as you know it. I had a realization this morning that I haven't been feeling great in my body lately. And sometimes it does take me a bit or two to work out why. And I realized this morning that I haven't had the time to invest in my business in the way that makes me feel nourished. Everything feels a little pressed for time and a little rushed at the moment. And the truth is, the school holiday started in December and I haven't had the time since then. Our construction business is bustling along and there is always a million things that need to be done. The kids were home for 6 weeks over the Christmas school holidays with me, and then since school started back, both have had about a week off, different weeks with different sicknesses. I've had parties and music festivals and weekends away. I've had my parents come down and visit, and I've had nights out, and all of this is great. I mean, this is stuff that I love to do. But for me, I know me. I know what fills my cup and makes me feel really good inside. And I'm a bit of a homebody. I really love working from home, alone. I really like working. I love my job, and when my job feels like a tack-on to everything else I'm doing, I struggle. And for the past 3 months now, that's how it has felt. And so this morning, I realized that's the issue. That's why I'm not feeling good. My husband is the same. He's been going to the gym for a few months now, and he's looking great and feeling great, but he hasn't been to the gym in 2 weeks. And it's getting him down. And it's the same thing. His work schedule is crazy. He also has 2 kids and a demanding wife, aka me. And I can tell he needs his balance back. And balance is everything in moderation, but perhaps not as we know it or not as it has been marketed to us. There are going to be times when the pendulum swings more towards social gatherings or more towards work. There are times when life is hectic. But there also needs to be times when my calendar doesn't look like an array of rainbow colours. Overscheduling has become our norm, but it isn't balance. And that's the biggest problem. Wellness needs balance to thrive, because the biggest thief of our wellness is stress. You can eat all the right things. You can work out and move your body every day and drink 8 glasses of water. But if you are stressed because things are not in your version of balance, then you aren't actually coming out in front. The biggest contributor to chronic illness in the body is inflammation. And one of the biggest contributors to inflammation in the body is stress. And we have more and more research that supports this every day. And the way that we reduce stress is by making sure we have time for the things that are important to us. And that's what balance means to me. Balance, like wellness, is individual. Balance for Wendy is going to look completely different to what balance looks like in your life, because we all value different things. And over time, our values are going to change, and therefore what balance looks like in our lives is also going to change. What we need and what people in our lives need from us is also going to change. And as we ebb and flow through life, what we like and what brings us joy will also shift. And this brings me to my third point. Wellness is inconsistency. Now I hear you. What? Inconsistency? I think she's got that wrong. Nope. No, I don't. I mean it. And I can hear a plethora of wellness gurus shaking their heads in dismay. But don't write me off just yet. I don't know a single person. Wait, let me just think about this. No, I'm staying with my statement. I don't know a single person whose wellness is consistent, like 100% consistent, as in they eat the same things each day and meditate at the same time each day and go to bed at the exact same hour each night and get up at the same time each morning. Consistent, according to the Oxford Dictionary, means unchanging in nature, standard, or effect over time. Consistent is an impossible standard to meet when it comes to wellness. And to be honest, I think this message of consistency is harmful. I think it leads to more stress and more abandonment of your wellness plan than any other message out there. I am inconsistent. For starters, I like to eat seasonally. I buy my fruit and veg from our local organic markets and I aim to cook based on the seasons. My kids, they don't care for seasons at their age right now. They want mandarins and grapes all year round. So I buy these, best I can, from Woolworths when they're out of season. Because I would rather they eat the fruit they like than no fruit at all. Some nights I go to bed at 8 p.m. and some nights I go to bed at 10 p.m. It depends what's going on. Some days I work 9 hours. Some days I work 2. I can't be consistent. I haven't found a way to be consistent with my wellness, and I don't know that I ever will. For me, the only thing I am consistent with is my inconsistency. And I've made my peace with that, because to me, life is all about inconsistency. The best laid plans rarely work out. If I have something planned, and I've said this before, you can bet your bottom dollar one of my kids is going to be sick that day, or something else is going to go wrong. We all know that saying, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. There's no point in getting my knickers in a twist about it. So don't stress about consistency in your wellness goals. In fact, keeping it inconsistent will keep it more fun for you. Some days you'll move more, some days you'll move less. Some days you'll be sick or injured, and the best movement is no movement at all. If you generally eat well, don't worry about that piece of cake at the party. Don't waste time dieting. Just eat well. Eat the foods that you know are good for you, but also the ones that you really enjoy. Have different ways to come into stillness and different ways that you find silence. If you've got a busy week at work, know that your social calendar will need to take a back seat for a while and feel the guilty-free pleasure of saying no. Plan for inconsistency. Have a repertoire of ways to manage your wellness, not just one strict wellness plan. You're not always going to have time for an hour session working out. So have some quick 5 or 10 minute workouts or movement sessions up your sleeve. You're not always going to be able to cook a really gorgeous gourmet dinner every night. So have 1 or 2 ready to go meals in the freezer, or some really great places that you love to order takeout. Some days be still. Some days journal. Some days meditate. Some days go for a walk in nature. Have lots of different ideas about your wellness and do the ones you know you can on the days where time is short. This is better than stressing about consistency and creating frustration with yourself when life doesn't go to plan. You don't have to do the same things every day. If you keep it simple, work toward your version of balance, and accept that your wellness is going to be inconsistent more than consistent, then you have given yourself a really good shot at good health and good wellness. You know what you need to do to be well in your body and mind. So ignore the rest and go and do what is best for you. Thank you so much for listening in today. I am Laurie Moore and this is Live Mindfully. Have a fab week and I look forward to being back again next week. Until then, take good care of yourself.